XRP. Yeah, is it safe? Is it safe? The good, the bad, and the downright ugly. XRP has been stated many times as the revolutionary product, the revolutionary banking product that allows peer-to-peer multi-currency exchanges directly on the blockchain. This has been stated as the revolution in banking, making the difficulty of peer-to-peer transactions and currency transactions that can take days, hours, months sometimes into single second movements. So should we all be investing into this chain? Well, let's take this journey together and see whether XRP is one of the best investments you can make in your life. By the way, my name is Alvarez. I've made 7 figures in cryptocurrency. I own a crypto marketing and consultancy agency, and I have worked and consulted on some of the largest projects in the industry. So I kind of know what the other side sees in these projects. Many have touted that XRP could reach $10,000, which, to be honest, is a wild claim, especially as it is at $2.3 at this present moment. That is about a 4,300 times the current value it is right now. Is that plausible? Well, looking into what XRP has done so far, and its parent company Ripple, which owns XRP, they have done some quite spectacular things. It looks like they have made agreements with some of the largest banks in the world and creating a network where they can utilize XRP to make multi-border transactions, currency transactions with likes of such as Santander and Canada Imperial Bank and various other things, could show this being one of the biggest and most important products out there on the blockchain. Furthermore, it seems like the USA is adopting XRP. I mean, you can see a tweet from Donald Trump saying that they might even put it into the reserve. That is crazy. This report from TradingView also states that the XRP has very strong lobbyists. When a company has really strong lobbyists in the USA, lobbyists are people that enact for companies and try and gain influence and provide changes in the US government and policy through their lobbying. They have really strong lobbyists, which means that the ability of XRP to have some form of involvement in the US government is quite high, and that is very promising for the asset and very promising for XRP in general. Furthermore, it has been wholeheartedly understood that XRP now is not a security. That was one of the major drawbacks of XRP and why people wouldn't want to use it, utilize it, or in fact invest into this product. All of these things are pointing towards a major important product. Furthermore, just recently, Ripple, the owners of XRP, have applied for a banking license. This works perfectly with what XRP is, what XRP Ledger is, which is a ledger where they do the transactions between currencies, what all the other factors, the US government, the lobbyists, all of these banks utilizing it, this type of cohesive ecosystem that Ripple and XRP have built that makes this cross-border transactions, currency transactions really simple, clean, and a product that if used and utilized by these banks will make this one of the most valuable companies in the world. Now, the bad. The issue that some people have with XRP is that it is wholeheartedly related to Ripple. And Ripple and XRP are completely two different entities. Yes, Ripple does use XRP in these cross-border transactions, but the connection between the two companies are very loose at best. And more importantly, the product that banks are using is something called RippleNet, not XRP. This distinction is really important because XRP is the tokenized asset that they released, and that isn't actually the company that is doing all this crazy thing. It is Ripple. And what could happen is that Ripple at any moment produce another product that could replace XRP. And that issue there is the bad, in my opinion. That could be a real problem for anyone that's investing in it, because the security of what XRP and Ripple have between each other is loose at best. Furthermore, Ripple owns all of XRP. And if we go to CoinMarketCap, we can actually see the tokenomics of this token. We see what the total supply is and what the circulating supply is. These two factors are extremely important, and it's something that you should really pay attention to. Because currently circulating supply and total supply are completely different. There's 59 billion XRP tokens in supply, so it's what is available out there at the moment. But they could technically print almost double that and cause a massive inflationary effect, which cause a downward sell pressure on this token. That isn't very good for someone that is investing in this product. It means they can just create more of this, and it possibly will happen, especially if other banks and utilization it starts happening. They will need to print this, and that will only put massive downward pressure into the value of this token. In comparison, if we look at Solana, which is one of the big three blockchains, we see that the difference between the two, total supply is 604 million and the circulating supply is 535. That inflationary factor is small. Even this is quite high, to be honest, but in relation is quite small, which will cause a less deflationary downward pressure on the token. The combination between the two is quite clear, and it should cause worry for people that are invested into XRP. Furthermore, it brings me another issue. There's something called TVL in cryptocurrency, and that is the total locked value. So the total value locked within an ecosystem, which in essence means how much is being held on this and utilized and used within this ecosystem that it's been created. Now, if you look at XRPL, which is basically the ledger, so the actual utilization of XRP, we're looking at 62.52 million, which is okay, right? Not really, because if you compare it to what is, a comparable value of and utilization, Solana has 8.72 billion. This is an issue. This shows to me that XRP is not really being used. There is no use case for this at this present moment. No one is using this, whereas Solana is. And furthermore, we get to the real ugly part. And it is to do with the comparison of these two chains. If we look at the market cap of XRP, it is fully diluted value. So if all of the tokens were there, is $233.41 billion. And if we compare that to Solana, it's $81 billion. So the value of XRP at this current value is 3 times the value of Solana, where in actual fact, there is over 10 times the amount of utilization of this chain. And more importantly, the amount of money that Solana makes is verging on about $5.85 million a day. And I'll tell you something about XRP. Did you know how much they make yearly at this present moment? They hide it. It took me hours and hours to try and find how much does XRP make. Technically, they make zero. They don't make any money. And for a company that doesn't make any money, and on top of that, with a valuation of XRP at $233 billion, compared to a chain that is, size-wise, 3 times smaller than XRP, that makes 5 million a day, with a market cap and a valuation of 81 billion. Do you see the problem here? The numbers aren't really stacking up. And if we get to the claim of $10,000 per coin, if we do the maths, $2.33, $10,000 per coin means, let's keep it lowball, a 4,000 times the value of where it is right now. If we multiply 4,000 by $233 billion, that gives a cool $932 trillion market cap for XRP. The S&P 500 is $52 trillion. Do you see the ugly here? Do you see the problem here? The S&P 500 is 500 of the most valuable companies in the USA, in the most valuable country and economy in the USA. So they are stating that the value of XRP will be almost, 20 times the value of this? You know what I mean? And say even if it does a 10x, 10 times the value, because all these banks are going to use it, it's the world, it's going to change everything, all that kind of stuff. That gives a $2.3 trillion market cap, which in my mind, yeah, kind of possible. Well, if you look at Nvidia, that's $3.9 trillion, and they have $44 billion worth of revenue a year. And not only that, run the world, run AI, and everyone's, and it is possibly and the most valuable company in the world. So for people who believe that this thing can 10x, they need to genuinely believe that it will be more valuable than Nvidia, the most valuable company in the world. And in my opinion, the final nail in the coffin of what XRP here is to provide is the Genius Act. The Genius Act makes it stable coins legal and gives it regulatory clarity. Why utilize a product that does interbank trading of currencies through their own centralized system and their own coin that they can actually print more of, and all the other things that we're talking about, market caps and when a bank can just create a stable coin and then transfer it over to another bank? Why use a chain when this has regulatory clarity, where the US government and regulatory bodies have understood, and there's a framework and everyone knows what's going on? XRP, yeah, has won its court case, but still nothing of it has been regulated. Everything is up in the air. When this has. So this is the first mover advantage, not XRP. This is my real problem. And this is what I have, issues that I have with XRP. Yeah, if we didn't have this stablecoin act, where in essence all banks and institutions within certain frameworks can create a stablecoin, where in essence they, if you want to buy, I don't know, euros from dollars, they can get the dollarized value of the stablecoin and the euro value, exchange it into stablecoin and full-blown transfer it over. Why would you need XRP? This is the question I would ask everyone here. Anyway, if you guys like this, smash the like button. Tell me what you guys think, and I'll catch you guys later.